What's going on, you guys? My name is Jacob Doty, and today we're introducing the new build for Doty, and today we're introducing the new build for driving line builds, and that is my Drift C6 Corvette. We're going to be talking about why we chose the C6 as our drift car platform. We're going to talk about the current state of the car and what we're going to be doing to it to transform it from a base LS2 Corvette into a full drift car. We've got some pretty wild plans, and I'll throw up the render of the car right here so you guys can see what this is going to look like. And we've got a lot of work to do. It's a factory black car, and the paint is terrible. It's nowhere near what we have on the Mustang. This is, I think, been repainted. It's been in an accident. Running, it's driving. It's everything you need to just start ripping things apart and adding better parts to it. Like, it's got 120,000 miles. The suspension's a little worn out. End links are clicking. There's things that need to change on it, but those are all the things that we're going to be making modifications to, so it really doesn't matter. It is well equipped. Like, we do have factory Grand Sport wheels and tires, which is kind of nice. These are typically on wide body cars, and you can see Crew Chief coming to check it out. This is Oliver. He's going to be our shop dog throughout the project. But these are factory wheels, so we're going to be able to actually get a little money back and sell these. In the rear, we have them as well, and they definitely stick out past the body. So it's an aggressive fitment, but I think we can sell those, get some money back. You may notice I already have ARP studs on that car. The thing about it is it came with a wheel bearing just howling. So that's also one of the things that we fixed on this car. But while I was in there, I went ahead and did ARP studs. So this thing will be easy to change out the rear wheels, which is very common whenever we're at the track. The interior is actually in really good shape, and there's a little cool feature, I guess. One of the things is we have Z06 seats. Someone swapped in Z06 seats. They're all in really good condition. They're in really good condition. We'll be able to sell these and get some money back. Like I said, it is a manual, so we're all good there. It has an aftermarket head unit, which we might be able to use. But the cool thing is that it has the glass roof, or it's actually a plastic roof, so you can see through it, which kind of makes this like a convertible even when you have the top on. So down here, it already comes with the Corsa quad tip exhaust. That is the same exact exhaust that we have on the Mustang. Now, I don't know if these are sports or extremes. I really don't know. But this is the same brand, so it's kind of cool to see that. And it's kind of funny because this is the old Corsa logo. So these are probably OG to 07. Popping the hood, I love this about Corvettes. It's something that you just don't get on a lot of cars, but it reverse opens. And this is just a factory LS2. Maybe the spark plug wires are different because they're red. But funny story about the spark plugs is that when we first got it, I did a pull and stopped at a red light. And I heard a tick. I thought I lost a lifter, but actually the spark plug was loose and it was bumping out. So that tick, 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 I was literally watching the spark plug wiggle. So I went through and retorqued everything. There was 2 spark plugs actually like that. So that just leaves me to believe that with the hub that was kind of bad, and we also had the spark plug that was loose, a couple other things that are kind of funky on this car. We need to do a full check of all the systems. Out of all of the drift chassis that you can choose, why did we choose the Corvette? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, it already comes with an LS. Now, what most people do is take a 240 or an E36, put a reliable LS into it and swap that. Well, why would we want to do that when we can just do it with something factory? The other thing I noticed is that these C6s are getting more and more parts available, meaning angle kits, seat brackets, modifications overall, even wide body. That was another thing that was really intriguing to me, is that it was an up and coming chassis. Now, I'm not the first to do this. There's plenty of people out there that have built C6s for drifting, but it's kind of that one chassis that could do it all. C6s can go drag race like Cletus McFarland. They can go road race like you've seen all over. And then they can also go drift like you've maybe seen with like Taylor Ray or Colette. So all of that really pointing me to the C6. Now, the other thing is that they're rear wheel drive. Clearly you need that to be a drift car. And then they're super lightweight. So now let's walk through all the parts that we're going to be changing and what we have in store for this car. So I busted out this giant piece of paper, C6 drift car, and I'm not going to go in any particular order like top to bottom, but I'm just, as it comes to my head, talk about what we're going to be changing and the mods that we have in store for this thing, so you guys know what the next few episodes are going to look like. We're going to take the car and do the suspension. That is going to happen through Fortune Auto coilovers. Now, another thing for the build, and typical of all drift cars, is that you need an angle kit. We are Team Overkill over here, And we're gonna start out with one of the best angle kits out there, which is the Wise Fab. The next thing we're gonna be doing is all of the service, right? We gotta do that stuff too. So we're gonna do spark plugs, all the fluids, transmission fluid, things like that. One of the other big things about the drifting world is having style. So we're, as you saw with the render, gonna have some cool style with this car, and that's gonna come through the 945 Garage wide body kit. So we're gonna be installing that. It's an over fender kit done in fiberglass. So I'm gonna do wide body here, and that'll be one of the, I guess, kind of finishing steps. Now, of course, whenever you wide body the car, these wheels fit a stock wide body, but the wide body we're throwing on is even wider than that of a Z06 or Grand Sport. So we're gonna need new wheels and tires. And the ones that we've chosen to run are the Nitto NT555 G2s. So we'll be running them front and rear, and those tires are gonna give us lots of tread. And this is exactly what the pros use, like Von Gittin, Chelsea D'Onofrio when he was out there, and now Ben Hobson of RTR. So I'm a big Mustang guy, and so we're gonna run those Nittos front and rear. So now hopping inside the car, we need safety equipment. So we're gonna do a cage, we're gonna do seats, those are gonna be OMP, harnesses also by OMP, a steering wheel, and then we're gonna be doing a PBM hydro. So we're gonna do an inline hydro kit, all of the safety equipment we're gonna need to be able to do this with peace of mind. So I'm just gonna write down safety equipment as one step, and then we'll do the PBM hydro as the other. Something you probably won't see, but maybe a speck of, is going to be the rear bash bar. So I have a rear bash bar that'll go under the bumper. It should just stick out because I have the lift puck there at the bottom. I'll probably do that in yellow to match the theme of everything, but that's a great lift point as well to change out the rear wheels so we don't have to reach and touch the diff or anything like that. So we have bash bar and then also the front bumper. This is a base, which means it's a narrow body. We have a factory Z06 front bumper. We're going to match that up to the 945 Garage fenders. We'll walk you through how we're gonna do that. Actually, I don't know how I'm gonna do that quite yet. We're gonna learn together and I'll document it all along the way. So I'm gonna write down bash bar and bumper. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, this car is a bit of a hoopty. So there's weird things like there's a hiss from the radio that I'd love to figure out. Now, of course, this will be like a race car, so it may not be super necessary, but I just am OCD about that stuff. There's also some fitment issues on the front end. I think the front right was in an accident because I was doing some fixing of a ground earlier, and I noticed there's red paint under that front right. We have random little parts. I'm gonna add a backup camera. I'm gonna be fixing the AC, hopefully. I didn't know the AC was out. Let's just go ahead and get into the backstory of how we got this car, which is basically looking on Facebook Marketplace for months, looking for the right build. I didn't want something too clean because I'm gonna be tearing this thing apart, and I wanna let that go to someone who's really going to take care of it in that way. So I got this one, but it turned out to be a bigger jalopy than we expected. Two things you're never supposed to do. I bought a car at night and in the rain, which means that I could not see any of the paint defects. I also couldn't see if there were any leaks, and it was really hard to tell on a rainy test drive if there were any leaks, rattles, noises, or anything like that. So this was basically what they tell you not to do. I did that exactly to pick up this car. Now, what we found out, because I bought it in the winter time, is that there's no AC. So you can see me sweating. It is now summertime in California inside of a garage. This thing is black with no tint and bakes, like heated seats, burn yourself type. So we have no AC in the car. The clutch compressor or the actual pulley on it is like exploded. Hopefully we can change that out. It looks like to be a bit of a job. The other thing is there's so many nicks and scratches and like some cracks in the fiberglass that I literally couldn't see because it was raining and dark. So don't ever do that. Also didn't notice the headlight fitment. Now that we're looking at it, you'll probably see it in camera, but there's a little bit of a gap that's happening and there's a chip in the front lip I didn't notice. Getting closer to the roof, what we're noticing are these little micro scratches. I couldn't see that at night either. And also I didn't know about the key thing. So it only came with one key, no physical key. It's just the push to start key. And we could have gotten locked out of the car that next day if the battery was dead. So just a couple things that are a little funky. You guys heard me mention that there was a little red under that fender. Well, that sparked a little bit of an investigation. This car was sold to me as a clean title car in California. However, when I was working on it, I noticed there was a little bit of red paint under one of the bolts on the fender. Did a little bit more research and realized, oh, that's a new front fender. So I reached out to one of my buddies that can do really in-depth Carfax reviews. Turns out this car was wrecked in Utah. And then it got cleaned and somehow made it to California with a clean title. So I should have ran the Carfax before I bought this. And again, don't do what I did, which is buy a car at night in the rain and not run a Carfax, because that would have avoided all of this. However, this is now going to be our drift car. That is kind of the backstory on this car, is that it is technically salvage title back from like 09 in Utah, then got cleaned somehow coming into California. I don't know how they did it, but apparently people can get away with that. And now we have this car. And because this car's paint is pretty much thrashed, we are wrapping it. And as you saw in that render, we are going with, because I'm a bit of a Porsche nerd, Porsche Miami Blue. This is gonna happen through Vinyl Frog Wrap. It'll be one of our last steps. We're gonna put on the new wheels and tires to complete the look, again, as one of the last steps. And then we're gonna install all of the logos and livery. And this is a Japanese inspired livery because, as I mentioned, Japanese drifting has style. So we're gonna need to make sure not only is it reliable and fun, but it's got some style with it. One of the final things we're going to be doing to the car is going to Rick Tuned and getting it tuned. This should help open it up, make it more alive, make it feel more responsive with the throttle. Not a horsepower build, we're not doing heads cam intake. We're just gonna open it up and crack open that extra 10% that may be helpful out there on the track. Be sure to hit the subscribe button here on the Driving Line YouTube channel so you guys can follow along with every step along the way as we transform this base LS2 C6 Corvette into a full drift car. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by the Driving Line YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe before you leave. I'm Cleese McFarland. Hell yeah, brother. We'll see you later.